I did not try and just make it all about today and my wants and needs. This was a decision through what I call the eyes of my children test, you know, the eyes of kids from Dungowan and Nundle and other schools. This is the 20-year decision. Through the negotiations, I think we've got a good local package for a local member to go home and talk to his electorate about. That's good. We've also got, I think, a regional Australia package that has never been seen before and will turbocharge regional Australia. It has been good work by Tony, by Bob and by others in pulling together a really important package for this country. And as Tony said, we're not asking for over and above. No one in any city needs to be scared. We are asking for equity. Equity has not been delivered to regional Australia for too long, and that is now about to change. As well, and I might have to flag in that there is a side consideration in all of this in regards to that regional Australia package. There has been an offer come in to drive that at a different level, and whilst no decisions have been made about that, and I have wanted to keep that separate from any decisions today, I do want to go home tonight to my wife and kids and actually talk it through over the next couple of days, but that is there for open scrutiny for all. So that will be considered over the next few days. As well, nationally, we've grabbed this opportunity as far as outcomes to achieve a couple of cracking outcomes. We have now got a tax summit that this country needs. By June 2011, we've got a commitment to have the Henry tax review thrown into the public domain with full recommendations from government and a fair income open debate about tax in this country. That is a good and big outcome from this process, and one that hopefully demonstrates this is not going to be a weak parliament. This is going to be a strong parliament. This will drive outcomes for this nation over the next 3 years that are better than ever done before. As well, I think it's important that we've managed to get a process over the next 3 years that at the very latest will see a referendum question put at the next election on Indigenous recognition in the Constitution, something that is part of the social fabric of this country that has been left behind for too long, and again is an important national outcome. Then as well, the party positions, and we have to work through the policy positions of both sides. And as you heard from Tony, I think that the big sticking points for us in regional areas were the broadband issue and the climate change issue, and one that I also throw in, and you only need to go to my last speech in the parliament, not Tony's first, about what I consider to be a crisis in regional education in Australia today. We now have national indicators in education around poorness, around Indigenous and around regional. It is a disgrace that regional education has been left behind in this country when it is the meal ticket for all those three combined. And so this has been a sticking point for me and a concern in regards to potential savings and cuts in skills and training in one particular party's policy, cutting things as simple as computers in schools, and not working as well as other sides on pathways and collaboration through this interesting period over the next 3 years around the transition from secondary to vocational education through to tertiary. That is good, substantive work, ironically started, I acknowledge, by Julia Gillard when she had the education portfolio. I hope that will continue into the future. So, the best interest test equals stability and outcomes, equals minimising the chance for an election and maximising the chances for local, regional and national outcomes. That's the framing of my thinking. And in that regard, we've worked through this process over the last 17 days, and I just do want to run through it. So, you know, everyone can criticise us. Well, I just want to tick it off because I want to be very clear with everyone that you mightn't like the decision, but you can't knock us for going through a very substantial and methodical process to draw some conclusions. The first thing we did was ask for a 7-point request for information. We got that from both sides. We then went into meetings with secretaries of departments and spent a day of our life talking to some eminent and beautiful people in the public service in Australia, in this place, who quite often get maligned in this joint more than they deserve. We met with ministers and shadow ministers on the full range of issues. We met with Treasury and Finance. We broke the Caretaker Convention rules and we actually got the costings that should have been out there prior to an election. That was good work done, I think, by the crossbenchers in drawing some conclusions. We've had many, many meetings, phone calls, text messages with both Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott. We've had many meetings on the side in regards to parliamentary reform, and we got a successful completion of that important process yesterday. We've met with stakeholders. I think the second day we were down here, we met with over 50 people from the National Rural Health Alliance to talk about how they believe they're missing out on up to $1 billion a year in this country just because state and federal governments don't follow their own funding formulas. So we've met with them, we've had lunch with Andrew Forrest, we've had phone calls from Noel Pearson. We have been engaged in trying to get a resolution. Hopefully as well, you can see we've made ourselves as openly as available as possible to the media through this period. We do believe in the sunshine test in what we have done. There are no sneaky cigar, whiskey, backroom deals in any of this. This has been an open process that we have followed. Well, no, no, there hasn't been. This has been an open process by us, and even if you don't like the decision, please accept that we've given it our best endeavours to make a best judgment call. So through that process, on an absolute judgment call, and I emphasise it's a points decision, I'm confirming for the Governor-General of Australia that today I'll do what I have always done, ironically, and give confidence and supply to government. And in effect, that means confidence and supply in Julia Gillard, unless, and I emphasise unless, exceptional circumstances determine otherwise. Any questions?
Mr Oakeshott, what could make you withdraw your support?
Oh, the obvious ones of maladministration, corruption, and some consideration of, you know, in a couple of years' time, and this will be in consultation with others, if people aren't fair income about the documents they've signed, the Regional Australia package, for example, we will get increasingly agitated about getting done over in a deal and start to exert some muscle, as quite rightly we should.
Rob, were you offered a ministry?
Are you going to become ministers in the Gillard government or become the Speaker in the Parliament?
Do you want to go first and then?
Well, I'll speak for myself. No and no.
And that was why I made mention quite openly of an offer has been made, and look, I've got to go home and talk to the family I haven't seen for 8 weeks. And well, hang on. Well, that is an offer that has been made. It is separate to any considerations in this whatsoever. Ask both sides. I don't want to be someone who gives up the confidence of discussions, but feel free. Feel free to ask both sides.
And accountability, was it provided by both sides? You mentioned it, not us.
Well, no, I'm being open about an offer that has been made from the decision that I have made, and I am going to go away and think about that. Now, it is up to Tony Abbott or Julia Gillard if they want to elaborate on that.
When did you reach your final? So when did you reach